Right, so you want to start a business. You're in the right place. 1, because you want to start a business, not because you feel like you have to. And 2, because I've been running Mergs, which is a CrossFit and weightlifting brand, for 7 years, and I'm going to show you what I did and how I got started. We're going to work on e-commerce only. When I say starting a business, that doesn't mean pressure washing people's driveways. That is a business. That's just not my area of expertise. We're going to be selling products online, and I'm going to show you how I find and found products to get going and start Mergs. When it comes to selling products online, all you're trying to do is solve a problem for someone else. Make their life easier, make something quicker, and improve the way they do something. You've got to give them value. They've got to be exchanging money for a better life. And that's on a very small scale. You're not going to change their life, but they're giving you money. You've got to give them solutions. And that can be convenience, speed, a better product, something that lasts longer, something that's cheaper to start with, but we'll get there. So how do we solve other people's problems? Well, first, we need to find problems. This doesn't start on day 1. You will not pick up this video and be like, right, I'm going to start ordering things from overseas. No, probably not. This is a process. It can't be rushed. And if it is rushed, you'll end up with a worse result. We need to look into what you have an interest in. That can be cars, motorcycles, lifting weights, cooking, woodwork. It could be your pets. It could be all sorts of things. It could be sewing or playing the guitar. Whatever your hobby is. The reason we pick something you've got a passion or an interest for is because some days get really hard. And when it's something you're interested in and something that you like and something that you love, it just gives you that extra push to keep going. Additionally, you need to know what you're selling. You need to be not necessarily an expert, but you need to have more knowledge than the customer in a thing to be able to solve their problem. I couldn't start selling things for dogs because I don't have a dog, I don't want a dog, and I'm not really that bothered for dogs. Don't start a business in an area that you know nothing about. You can, it's just tricky. It just makes life hard. So we need to look for things when you're doing your hobbies, something that can be, that makes life easier. Something that's like, we could improve this in a way to just make life a little better. Something that you buy and you're like, these are just too expensive. Why are these £100? When you look at it and think, there's not really much going on there, we can do this for cheaper. Great starting point. Another way is looking at something that you use or interact with that has a flaw. Something that doesn't work quite well enough, that doesn't seem that... Sometimes you use a thing and you're like, why is this not very good? We can improve that. But the products that we're selling need to meet a certain criteria. Some of the criteria points I look for in a product. It needs to be worth, starting out, between £30 and £60, or $40 and $70, somewhere around there. It needs to be expensive enough that it leaves room for expenses, it leaves room for shipping, it leaves room for returns. You can afford to buy the products and we can afford to do a little marketing. All those things have got to be in that price point. If you're selling something for £6, well, for starters, how do we even post that? If you're paying £4 for a small parcel to post it, where do we get 6 out of that? It makes it really, really, really hard when margins get super slim, and it just holds you back in the future. So pick a price point, or pick something between, £30 to £50, enough that where somebody could just go out and buy it. It's not £300 where it's a considered purchase and you're thinking, I don't know, do I really need this? Like a new camera. You'd be like, there's a lot of thought and research goes into that. But when somebody's spending £30, they'll think, well, that's only the same as ordering a takeaway for tea. Yeah, it is. People spend £30 on insignificant items. So that's roughly where we want to be price-wise. You can go above that. It can be a £100 product. Great, that's not too far off. But personally, I tend to stick within that, hover around £50 if you can. Now here's the bit. So when you're looking for products, these are things that I like to pay attention to ensure they're not outside of these by too much. Not having too many moving parts. Things that get complex get problematic. We're not starting this business with 300 grand ready to patent a new idea and do inventions. We're looking to improve an existing product with a manufacturer that probably makes something like that already, but we're putting our own spin on it. So nothing that's got too many moving parts or is too complex. Secondly, stay away from things that are electronic. Same with the moving parts things. There can be regulations in place. If things goes wrong, people can die. You know, like the time that everybody had hoverboards and next thing you know, they're all exploding, all the batteries. You don't see them anymore. They were just a fad and they were dangerous. Somebody might have been sued for a lot of money because of those problems. We don't want any part of that. 3, it's got to be better than what exists already, and not by a lot. That could even mean the colour. I mean, we sell a pair of knee sleeves, and our best seller is black, and we just wanted to bring something out that was a bit jazzy. Our second or third best seller is leopard print. Why? Because nobody else does leopard print. But that's one for later. So it only has to improve either cosmetically or function, or it's got to be very good but at an attractive price. But that's the one that's hard to hit, so don't worry about that for now. Just think of a product or a way to improve something that you already own. We want something that's incredibly good quality. That will come over time. Your first product will not be the best version it will ever be, I promise. It has to be good though, to where people can tell others, I'm using these and this is great. That's what we want. Also, we don't want customers to get a product that breaks, that is faulty, that has issues. Issues mean a loss of trust. And when you've got loss of trust, people are less inclined to come back. So we want a customer to be happy with their purchase for the entire life of the product and come away thinking, wow, that was good, that was a real upgrade on my life. Another thing, we want something that can roughly fit in a shoebox. That sounds like a very specific size. It's not meant to be. It's just because if we start shipping things that are oversized, we start having problems with shipping. It's just a pain. It gets expensive. Returns are expensive for customers. The whole thing just becomes slightly more complex. It doesn't mean it can't be done, but this is just something I look for. Something that can fit in a shoebox or a Royal Mail small parcel. And the bonus point is something that doesn't break easily during shipping. If it can break easily, we need to take a lot of extra precautions to make sure that it can be packed safely. Again, that can add complexities, and if you're trying to sell, coffee cups, and they can break easily, well, then the package size is much bigger because now we're putting different protective materials in, and next thing you know, you're getting big. Plus, nobody wants to receive a product that is broken. Like, you've not even had a chance to break it yourself. You've just opened the box and it's broken. That's headaches. We don't need that. So, something that doesn't break easily in shipping, which, to be fair, covers most things. Now that we've looked at a few requirements for what we are looking for, here's a few things that we're not looking for. We're not looking for stuff that's incredibly cheap. You don't want to sell things at a low price point. One, because the customers can be a little bit more pedantic. If somebody spends £6 on something and it breaks, you'd be shocked how upset they can be. Buying things that are of better quality for a higher price often leads to much more satisfaction. 2, fragile items. Like we've just said, it can be done. You can sell fragile things, but it just adds another layer of complexity that we don't need to be dealing with right now. We can come to that later, but for now we want stuff that is not going to break and that they're not going to break. If something's incredibly fragile and somebody knocks it off a worktop as soon as they get it out the box, all of a sudden they might just pack it back up in the box, send you a picture, and now Royal Mail got the blame. We just don't want anything that can break easily. We don't want anything that's in a regulated industry. That means things that are flammable, things that have got age restrictions like alcohol, things that have got medical intervention coming in, things for children where there's incredibly strict rules, like I'm sure dog food. I bet there's incredible regulations on that, and that just hikes the price up, So there's products like that in these categories that are just a bit complex. Don't get me wrong, the barrier to entry is a little higher, which sometimes means the competition's lower, but not always. So we want to kind of stay away from things in regulated industries and things that people could have liability issues with. If somebody buys something from you and it causes them harm, that's a bad one. We don't want that. We want happy customers because happy customers give you more money. That's all we need. We just need more people to come back to us. 2 specific categories that I wouldn't even bother touching. Clothing. Every single human on earth wears clothing. Therefore, there's a billion different people trying to sell clothing, all with a tiny twist on each other. And when you take a step back, they're all much of a muchness, you know? There's nothing really that Under Armour makes, that Nike doesn't make, that Gymshark doesn't make, that Able doesn't make, that we all make the same things. And don't get me wrong, there are outliers out there, like people that have really succeeded, like Represent. They're making a product for a specific customer, but I wouldn't recommend starting that as your first business. I think that's quite a complex one. The second thing is supplements. The reason being, they're quite low cost, although they are good in the sense that people will make repeat purchases. The only thing is, there's just big brands out there that can just swallow them up. You know, Optimum Nutrition, MyProtein, CNP. There's just loads of big supplement brands, and to compete in supplements is really tricky. Because at the end of the day, let's be honest, apart from the flavour of your protein powder, what's different between brands? Price? How well it mixes? It's really hard to be unique and sell something that is just something else. So we'll stay away from those few things, and that'll just make life a smidge easier. So now that I've gone through all those things, you're thinking, well, John, where do I even start? Like I say, start by going out there and paying extra attention to the things you're handling or using, or something that's underperforming, or something that you're like, that'd be better if it just had that on it. You know, they can be tiny things that just make life a little easier for someone else. Here's a product that I looked into a long time ago. We're talking like a couple of years, where I just got excited one day. I started looking online. I'm like, right, I could start another business. I don't recommend starting more than one business. That was at a point in time where I just sort of lost motivation. Stick to the business you're at. Pick one you love and you'll stick at it. I went down the road for these. It's a Japanese flush cut saw, or a Japanese pull saw. So, like I said earlier, pick something in an industry you know something about. I don't do woodwork, I have no idea about this product. If you do know about woodwork and wish to sell these, here's one from me. These are great, because I'll show you more soon. I ordered a couple from China, on the cheap. This one I've never even opened. It looks like quite a high quality product. We will come to sourcing, that's in our next video. Right now, we've just got to find the problems. We've got to find ideas, make a note of them, and then we can come back to them later, and then we'll start sourcing. So this actually came from once I was cutting some wood, and all I had was a big aggressive saw. I needed a really nice neat cut that weren't that deep. Did some research, found out that Japanese pull saws apparently are very effective at that. So I was like, right, how much are they? Had a look online, and they were between 10 to 15 and up to 50 or 100 pounds. And I'm like, wow, that's an incredibly simple product. You know, it's a saw blade up at the top and a handle at the bottom. Don't take this as the only example. There's millions of different versions of this. This was just one I picked out because it looked really good quality. It has come branded with the company's logo from China, the manufacturer. And that's fine, because that doesn't matter for now. If we look at these on Amazon, you might be thinking now, wow, that is so incredibly specific and incredibly niche. But there will be a full army of woodworkers out there that are like, no, that's the best saw. That's what I like to use. There will. And there will be around the world. And you might think, yeah, but really? There'll be millions of people that can benefit from this. And don't forget, there might even be millions of people that don't even know this exists. They might not have used one of these because they don't know about it. And that can also be an area that can be our job. So, looking into products like this, we also need to be mindful of expanding the range eventually. Say we start selling Japanese pull saws, because these are fantastic. We make a really high quality one. It's branded nice, it's long enough, it's got a lovely handle, it's durable, it's got a replacement blade. We've ticked loads of boxes. We're thinking, wow, we've got a great product here. What else might that customer want? That's something else to bear in mind. When you're looking for products, does it offer part of a range? It probably does, because most products do. This water bottle. If I started selling these Mergs bottles, which we do as just an accessory to our website, what else, if you were a water bottle brand, what else could you sell? I mean, more water bottles? But if a customer's got one and they paid £30 for your really nice water bottle, what's next? They might not buy 5. There are some examples that are very unique, like the Stanley Cups trend, where people were going out and buying multiple Stanley Cups. Craziness. But we don't need to bank on something being a trend for it to be a successful business. We need to just make sure we can offer other products for woodworkers that fit this range. And I don't even mean other Japanese pull saws. There might be other types of saw. There might be other things. This is why we need to know what we're selling. So you can go, right, we're selling this Japanese pull saw. We can also sell a full-size version, a long one, or something else, or some sort of other cutting tools. So yeah, be mindful of the range that we can eventually get to. But your homework for today is to start paying attention to products and things you interact with. What can be improved? What can be made better? It could be as simple as we're using this and we don't like the handle. The handle's too big. It's too clunky. It's too heavy. It's too long. There can be loads of factors that just make something a tiny bit better. And then we'll come to branding later. We'll put our own spin on it and we'll go down that rabbit hole of optimizing this product for our target customer. So yeah. Keep an eye out for any products while you're moving around, see what you can improve, and just get an Excel spreadsheet or a Notion, get some sort of software, just write down your ideas. And if you're unsure whether it even is a product, have a look on Amazon. They stock virtually everything. But bear in mind, when you look on Amazon, you will find £5 versions of this, because there are. But we're coming into this trying to be a premium brand with a really solid product offering where people can trust that what we put out is top tier. So that's what we're going for. You guys keep your eyes peeled, see what you can find, and then in the next video, we're going to look at sourcing. We're going to see how to source a product, where to get it from, minimum order quantities, how to get samples, and everything to do with getting your first product in the door just as a tester. Anyways, I need to get back to work, so do you, and I will catch up with you guys in the near future.